Similar challenges. But here's what's significant about this. And again, I'm only sharing with you true stories. I share with you my story is true. Share with you the story of the teachers is true. The reason I'm sharing the stories with you is that they're all embedded in my work. My work talks about all of this. This teacher had an entire group of students. Understand what she did, if you really look at it. She didn't get a new reading program, a new writing program, did she? What she did was she got composition books, and she said to the children, you have a story. There's something special. This is about how you touch the spirit so that children want to do. It's not about, you can't threaten these children into learning. You can't punish these children into learning. There is not enough detention halls. There's not enough room to suspend all of them. What she did, and understand her personality was very different than Ken Carter's. She didn't get in their face, but she did have some swag. You know, she did say, tell me about it. Do you understand that when you start this type of dialogue with young people, where you say, they want to see that you are vested. That is an important word. If you're taking notes, that is the word you should make note of, vested. Because in many school communities where these boys fail, educators are not vested in their success. I'll give you this example. I talk about this in the book. I had a young man in Griffin, Georgia, in the third grade classroom. This was actually a Caucasian young man. So I go into class, and I had all the children take out a sheet of paper. I said, put an A in the middle of the page. This is a high-poverty school, 100% free and reduced lunch. I said, sign your name to the bottom of the page. And he did. He was very compliant. I said, every student in here is an A student. You're in my class, and I'm teaching you. You have the best teacher in the building. Your mama must know the superintendent of schools to have gotten you into this classroom. And he raised his hand, and he says, I said, yes, sir. He said, I ain't never been no A student. Well, see, I believe that if you are believing in these children becoming successful, you must have your standards here. You don't lower standards based upon where they come from. I believe standard English is the cash language. We learned that years ago in Los Angeles Unified Schools, where they had a proficiency in English program, where they had children reciting poetry and oratorical contests. They said, when you get a job, you must know the standard. We don't forgive you because you're poor. You can speak any way you want to at home, but at school, you will learn the standard, and you do that by modeling. So I went up to the young man. I got nose to nose with him because boys have their space. So if you get in their space, they will really pay attention. So I got in his space, and I said, I've never been an A student before. And he looked at me and said, you neither. So I explained to him that that was the grammatically correct way to say what he said. And then he said, I've never been an A student before. And I said, young man, you're in this room. You have the continence to learn. You have the spirit. Your spirit is right. Say, young man, I'm going to take you places you've never been. They need us to tell them that we know what we're doing and we can lead them wherever we want to take them. So I said that to him, and he raised his hand throughout the day, and he was engaged. He went home and told his mama. His mama, and they lived in a trailer, and this was a large Caucasian woman, and she came to the school the next day angry, and she just walked right in. Who that man told my son he was an A student? And so I was right there waiting on her. I know. See, this is my culture. My culture is you disarm parents, not by becoming angry, but by understanding. And so I was just there waiting on her. She said, you that man told my son he was an A student? Now see, she got in my bubble. You know, she came right up, nose to nose. I said, yes, ma'am, because your son is just a delight to teach. It is my blessing to have him in my class. It just calmed her spirit. And she looked at me and she started crying. Ain't nobody ever told my son he was worth spit. All they ever do at this school is talk about how stupid he is. And she just started crying, broke down. Do you realize that when a mom is sitting there and she's broken down because you have let her know that you believe that you have the capacity to teach your child and that the child is right there watching that? Do you realize that if I ever called that mother with a problem, that boy would not get, you know why? Because his mama's on my team now. She may not receive any other phone call in school, but if Mr. Wynn calls, she's on my team. What I'm saying is that we have the power to do these types of things. But here's the other point. I was at a secondary school. There's a young man, Jeffrey. Jeffrey completed some work. He failed. said, Jeffrey, what's this? He said, I just can't learn this stuff. I just can't learn. And boys do this all the time. I said, son, come back to school tomorrow. You're going to take this test over. He said, for real, whenever you get a boy say that word, that is a universal word. For real, that means that they are shocked that you are bringing a strategy they never heard before. Everyone else lets them fail. I said, come back tomorrow morning. So he comes back the next day. He didn't study, but just as osmosis, he slept on it another day. So he raised his grade from 30 to 35. So he comes in the next day, and I graded. I said, Jeffrey, I said, son, I'm not having this. You're going to have to see me after school. Now, Dr. Bacon talks about something when she describes these two groups of children, Jerome and Ashley. You all know Ashley. Ashley is in the top class. Ashley is gifted. Ashley is going to grow up to become a teacher. Ashley turns her work in on time. Ashley sits in the front of the class. Ashley is just smart. Ashley doesn't have anything to do with Jerome. So then I say to Jerome, I said, Jerome, you got to study with Veronica. Veronica, she got an A. Veronica, help Jerome learn something. Do I have to, Mr. Wynn? Come on. You need community service. He needs to pass the class. Veronica works with him. He goes, he comes back in, takes the test again after school, works with him a little bit, raises his grade to 50. All right, Jerome, you're on your way, son. Come back tomorrow morning, take that test again. We go back and forth with this, and he finally gets a 70. We have taught black males that passing is good enough. The coaches teach them that. The teachers teach them that. The parents teach them that. Institutionally, we settle for passing. So when he gets that 70, he's good to go. Mr. Wynn, I passed. I said, son, you don't understand. If you'd have got a 70 on that test the first time, I might have looked at what I have done wrong because you didn't understand what you needed to get the other 30. But since you failed the first time, son, you're going to take that test again. Oh, come on, Mr. Wynn, I passed, son. I'm not accepting it. He goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. He finally gets a 99. He's grinning from ear to ear. He's never gotten a 99 on anything, not even PE. He's never gotten a 99. He gets a 99, and he's grinning from ear to ear. This is the teachable moment. You can't lose it. I said, son, that 99 was in you from the beginning. If you would applied yourself, you are brilliant, son. You must bring your A game to this classroom. You need to get tired of taking tests over and over. I know I'm tired. I got other things I need to do, mess around with you every morning, every afternoon. He wound up an A student. We had allowed him to fail countless times because we weren't vested in his success. Once someone was vested, he started to deliver. Now, some of you would say, well, we don't have the time to let children do it over and over and over and over and over again. You know what? I told you, let's not talk philosophy, let's talk strategy. How come we have the time to spend billions of dollars on new programs that don't work, but we don't have the time to invest in the children to get them successful? Why is that? Why is that?